Whenever you're ready.
Let me get a drink first. Hi, I'm Rich Heffron. 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 This is this week's Delaware State Chamber of Commerce Legislative Report. And so, can I start it from?
Yeah.
This Thursday, May 18th, is our annual This Thursday, May 18th, is our annual Small Business Day in. This Thursday, May 18th, is our annual. Don't laugh. She does talk a lot about. We gave the John Taylor Award. Are we gonna be able to fix this? But it did move forward. We have. We're gonna start this whole thing over tonight.
Are they gonna be mad that you're bashing them?
Yeah, who cares? About the budget, and there are a few other issues that.
Please take me off the list.
Everybody who listens to my video is going to know that you want to be taken off the
Sorry,
list.
guys.
Anybody? Lastly, I already said lastly. Thank you for watching. What did I forget? Anything? Hi, I'm Rich Heffron. Oh, God. Bloopers.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the colors by the Delaware National Guard Joint Color Guard, led by Sergeant First Class Edward Gott and Staff Sergeant Mary Kate Hall of the Delaware Army National Guard Joint Force Headquarters, and Staff Sergeant Michael Jefferson and Airman First Class Rashad Brown of the Delaware Air National Guard 166th Airlift Wing. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for our national anthem performed by the Sunday Breakfast Mission Men's Choir led by Choir Director Virginia Wahlberg. The Sunday Breakfast Mission Men's Choir is made up of men who are living full-time at the Sunday Breakfast Mission. Many have come to the mission from living on the streets or being trapped in the cycle of substance abuse and are working toward a better future. They currently are participating in the free year-long New Life Rehabilitation Program at the Sunday Breakfast Mission. The New Life program provides a means for participants, both men and women, to not only recover from various life issues, but to gain life skills and abilities that will help them to secure jobs and give back to their community.
Present.
Whose
please remain standing for the invocation delivered by Reverend Monsignor Joseph F. Redman, Vicar General, Pastor of St. Joseph on the Brandywine.
Colors. Color turn.
Of weather to come together as citizens of diverse cultures, religious beliefs, or even no beliefs, but experiencing our respect for each other as fellow citizens of this great land of ours. We ask you to bless our food, Lord. Bless us all gathered here in this assembly. Make our talk flow with peace. Come with your love for each other as fellow human beings. Glory to God. Hear our prayer. Guide us on forever. And bless us, Lord. Bless our food and bless our families forever. Amen.
Thank you, Monsignor Redman. You may now be seated.
Hi, I'm Rich Heffron, President of Delaware State Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the 181st Annual Dinner. It's 2018 and people ask us, well, what's the State Chamber going to look for this year? But first, we still need to look at our state budget. It needs to be stabilized and it needs to be made sustainable. That means both looking at spending and revenue. And we look forward to working with the governor, the General Assembly, the business community, and others in that effort. Secondly, we need to set the rules for the modernization of the Coastal Zone Act legislation that was passed last year. And there's heavy industry areas, there are 14 sites. We need to start the process of attracting businesses there and have businesses there having them expand. But the rules need to be set to do that successfully. We need to complete the process of setting the structure for the Prosperity Partnership, the public-private entity which is going to do economic development for the state of Delaware. The state needs to continue to grow. This effort is aimed specifically at expansion of existing companies and bringing new companies into Delaware. Lastly, Pathways to Prosperity. It's a program set up by Governor Markell, which has been a great success. It is designed to get public school students into programs that will prepare them for the workplace. We're now at 14 programs with 6,000 students, which is astounding considering only 3 years ago we started out with 28 students in the advanced manufacturing program. We need to keep pushing that success. There'll be other issues, there'll be other policies that we'll be involved with. We look forward to working with our friends in the state legislature and with our governor and with people in local government and the business community and others in making Delaware economy grow. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of the Delaware State Chamber of Commerce, Rich Heffron.
Welcome to the 181st Delaware State Chamber of Commerce Annual Dinner. That's right, 181 years. We've never canceled yet. To those of you who have come tonight, thank you. I know it was difficult. There were a lot of questions all day long, but you made it here, and we appreciate that. As many of you know, the Chamber and its members consider advocacy and networking to be the most valuable assets of Chamber membership. We take the role of representing our members in Dover very seriously. And how do we do it? Our mission is three things. Number one is we want you to be successful in your business. And if you're successful in your business, our second mission will be met, creating jobs. And when we create jobs, we can meet our third mission, which is to grow the economy in the state of Delaware. But we can't do that without you, our members, being involved. The mission's simple, getting accomplished takes a lot of hard work, and you're part of that effort. So that is what we do, and that's why you're important to us at the Delaware State Chamber of Commerce.
We're really proud of the public-private partnership and the Coastal Zone Act work that both have been passed this year in 2017. But really, I want to spend some time, and we all want to spend some time, talking about you, Rich, this evening.
Rich is very unique in that he has this quality of putting everybody at ease. So it doesn't really matter whether you're a member of the legislature, if you're a member of the business community, if you're an organized labor leader. He just has the ability to sit down and be able to converse with you and talk to you, no matter the subject.
I think he epitomizes the best of the Delaware way, and that is grounded in respect for both sides of the aisle. It is grounded in trying to do the right thing for the people of our state and for our state in general.
A big part of Rich's success is that he brings integrity to the game. He's friendly, he's very collegial, he's wise. His years of experience have given him a lot of wisdom, and his counsel is sought by folks on both sides of the issue, quite frankly, in the legislature, in the administration, and by those he represents through the Chamber of Commerce.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And when you think about Rich, in all facets of his life, you know, we've been privileged to have him as part of the Chamber for 26 years, and I've been able to work pretty closely with him over the last 2 years as the board chair. He's just an honest person trying to do good and improve upon where we are today.
I think that Rich Heffron is a guy who is the type of person we wish we had in the Congress and the Senate today. He crosses party lines. He's great friends with Democrats. He's great friends with Republicans. He can walk down the street and talk to anybody. I guess you say he marches with cabbages and kings.
Well, he's first and foremost, he's a Delaware County guy. That's where he grew up, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, which makes him a huge Philadelphia sports fan. And just as much as he is a fan of the professional teams, the Eagles, the Flyers, and the Phillies, he's also a huge fan, and his real allegiance is to the Temple House.
Rich is authentic. He's genuine, and he has a care for people. And again, that genuine care and connection that he has with you is just that. I'm sure many people would think the same.
Yeah, Rich is clearly an honest person, and you can take him at his word, that's for sure. If he says he's going to do something, he's going to do. He will do it. There's no question about that. He's a family man. Not much of a golfer, I can tell you that, but he's tried. But in general, a really good guy to be around. A pleasure just to sit down and talk to. But you get a straight answer from Rich. There's no waffling with Rich.
Oh, he's just someone that is a great friend. He's someone that you can always count on, and he's someone who is just a joy to be with.
I think the state of Delaware is a much better place with Rich Heffron, leading the state chamber. I think he's going to be it's going to be a huge void when he leaves. I always like to say Rich is he's a Delaware guy with a little bit of Philadelphia sprinkled in him, and I think we're all going to miss him.
As students almost, we were taught the 3 C's, whether it was public speaking or in writing or whatever, to be clear, concise, and correct. I always said about Rich, his 3 Cs, it was always cool, calm, and collective.
I've worked in Delaware for 14 years and have been involved with the State Chamber of Commerce for that time. As long as I've worked here, I've always thought of the Chamber of Commerce as Rich Heffron. They're one and the same. So it's going to be really hard for me to see Rich go, but I know he's really going to enjoy his retirement and he really deserves it.
There are two kinds of people in public life. There are those who talk a good game, and there are those who quietly and constructively want to make progress and do the right thing. Happily, Rich fits in that latter category.
Heffron has been a tremendous friend to generations of leaders in the community. And what I've admired most recently about him is how he has empowered and mentored and brought young people along into leadership roles in the Delaware community. I think that will be part of Rich's legacy.
I want him to know how thankful I am that he brought me into the chamber and how much I'm going to miss him. And it's been a real positive experience, you know, having him to guide me through this process. So, yeah.
One of my greatest, I think, blessings is to be able to call Rich truly one of my closest friends. He is steadfast in his friendship and his love for the state of Delaware and for the community.
So, Rich, that video was about you, and clearly, well, we knew your attention to detail would allow you not to know that it was about you. So, but just to share with you, Rich, a quote comes to mind from Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And Rich, I know it's important for you to realize, and for us, for all of us to know, that this is not goodbye. You still have 6 more months of work to do with the Chamber, and there's much to get done over the next 6 months. But on behalf of all of those that have worked with you over the last 26 years, and the last 2 as president of the Chamber, thank you for being you. Working in a collaborative manner, across party lines, and with companies of all sizes and industries to drive positive change for Delaware business and for Delawareans. On behalf of the staff, the board of governors, along with all of our members, we want to present you with this award for your outstanding service to the Delaware State Chamber. And congratulations to you, Rich, and best wishes to you, Colleen, and your entire family. So, Rich, thank you for everything. Thank you.
We have work to do. Thank you. Thank you to all my friends. Thank you to my family who's here tonight. I'll have them stand up later. Thank you to some of the people on that video were my mentors. And thank you to all you. You're the ones who make it possible, along with the staff at the Chamber. 2 people in particular. One is past presidents Bill Wire. Bill Wire made this chamber what it is today. Bill Wire had the building built where we exist. Bill Wire made the modern chamber, and a special thank you, he couldn't make it here. John Burris was my mentor. He hired me, he brought me on, he said he needed a Democrat, so Bobby Bird and the late Bill Wood went to him and said, we know somebody for you, he's over from the city of Wilmington. So I appreciate that. And there'll be some other thank yous later. Maybe if we do that outtake video again, you might change some people's opinions, but it's hard when you make stuff up to keep serious. Anyway, On to the rest of the show. One of the highlights of the evening will be the presentation of the Josiah Marvel Cup. We have some past Marvel Cup honorees here with us tonight. I saw him earlier, Dr. David Roselle, who was when he was at the University of Delaware. Governor Mike Castle. Mike, thank you for coming. And one of the people I admire for what they do for our community, it's special to me because she is special to my mother-in-law, Carol Carpenter. Thank you, Carol. And Carol's husband, Ned, also won the award. I think it's special that they won it, not together, but separate. I'd also like to thank my board of directors and the board of governors, if you'd please stand. I couldn't have done what I've done all these years, and I couldn't have done what I've done the last few years as president without your support. Please stand. We have several past chairmen in the audience. Please stand when I mention your name. Michael Offner, Alan Levin, Tommy Cooper, and especially Mark Stellini, who was there when I was named president and helped me through that process. I'd also like to thank this year's annual dinner committee and the chair, Bobby Bird. Bobby, thank you. The committee has been meeting since August. Back in August, we didn't expect to have freezing rain tonight, but we did. They've done a wonderful job, and you'll see that as the dinner goes on. Bobby's been a friend for 40 years now, and thank you, Bobby. "181 dinners, I think Bobby's been to about half of them. Was it when I think it was when Herbert Hoover was the Secretary of Commerce, he was here before he became president. We certainly would not be here tonight without the generosity of our sponsors. Our reception level sponsor has been each year, DuPont. Chairman level sponsors, AstraZeneca, Barclaycard, Christiana Care, Comcast, and thank you once again for your work on the videos. You did a tremendous job, especially finding that many people who could say nice things about me. Glen Mead Trust Company, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, JP Morgan, M&T Bank, Sallie Mae, and the University of Delaware. Ambassador sponsors, Bank of America, BB Healthcare, Delaware City Refining Company, Insight, the Morris Children's Health System, PNC Bank, and St. Francis Healthcare. Advocate level sponsors, Anheuser-Busch, Artesian Water, Artisans Bank, Associates International, and thank you, Charlie Copeland and Joe Farley Jr. for the job you do with the printing every year. We appreciate your support. And if anybody doesn't understand how Democrats and Republicans can get together, talk to those two. They get together every day. Bay Health, Velfare Lyons and Schumann CPAs, the Bird Group, Calpine, Camorras, Citizens Bank, the Delaware Health Information Network, the DIN. I've been on the board there since the late 1990s. They do a wonderful job in electronic transfer of health records. The first and only state in the union that does it statewide. Delaware Municipal Electric Corporation, Delaware State University, Duffield Associates, FedEx, the Kenny Family Foundation, who provide the floor arrangements on the table, Morris Nichols Arson Tunnel, Navient, Norfolk Southern, Potter Anderson Caroon, We Work for Health, Wilmington and Giordano Associates, Wilmington Airport, and Wisfus Bank. Thank you all for sponsoring this event. We often say that small business is the engine that drives Delaware's economy. We have 23 small business leaders that sponsored the annual dinner this year. You will see their business names scrolling on the screens throughout the evening. Once again, to our small business members who are the backbone of our economy, thank you. Thank you for what you do for the Chamber. Thank you for what you do for the state of Delaware and its citizens. Lastly, let's take a few minutes now to watch some special messages from our congressional delegation.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person, at least at this point in the evening's program, but we're in Washington today. We're still in session, and hopefully Chris and I and Elise will be able to make it to the Chase Center by dessert, so save our seats. Just a big thank you to Rich Heffron for the invitation to give some remarks early in the program. Let me say, I've known Rich since we were both, in our 20s, not that long. But we have kind of grown up together, and he and I agree on almost everything. And one of the things we agree on is I call them maybe the 3 C's, the need to communicate, cooperate, to collaborate. I'd add another one is civility. He has been a huge help, not just as the leader of the Chamber in the last several years, but even before that in earlier roles there, of trying to make sure that we in government are always looking for ways to provide a more nurturing environment for job creation and job preservation. When I was privileged to be your governor, more jobs were created in those 8 years than any 8-year period in the history of the state of Delaware. I did not create one of them. But working with the legislature, Democrats and Republicans, working with the chambers of commerce up and down the state, working with businesses, large and small, working with the environmental community. We found a lot of ways to create jobs, and proud of that effort. It shows what you can do when you work together. People ask me sometimes, little kids ask me sometimes, what do I do? I tell them, I'm a United States Senator. They say, well, what do you do? And I explain I help make the rules for the country. We call them laws. And they say, well, what else do you do? And the other thing that we do is we help people. And the best way you can help somebody is to make sure they have a job, they can support themselves and their family. And the way to make sure that there are jobs is to provide a nurturing environment, a world-class workforce, to make sure that we have people coming out of our colleges, out of our high schools, out of our technical schools with the skills that are needed by businesses in the state of Delaware, businesses large and small, to make sure they have access to capital, to make sure we have a reasonable tax burden, make sure we're developing and adopting common sense regulations, we have access to fairly inexpensive energy, health care, all the above. Make sure people have access to, in the business community, have access to folks like us, your servants, your elected leaders. And that's one of the reasons why I think we've enjoyed a fair amount of success in Delaware over the years. We're going through a rough patch right now for our nation, and there's some people who are concerned that we're not going to be able to get through this, but we've been through a lot worse in the past, and we'll get through this as well. I just want to close with this thought, if I could. A friend of mine used to work for us. She used to work also for U.S. Department of Transportation. A woman named Beth Osborne. She used to put it right at the end of her emails. She would have these words: it's always darkest just before the dawn, and then it gets really, really dark. Think about that. That was tongue-in-cheek, and she didn't believe that. I didn't believe that either. But 2 years ago, we gathered in a room where you are tonight, and Delaware was reeling. We had just gotten news that the Dow-DuPont merger and what it was going to mean for Delaware. We had 27,000 people who went to work at DuPont the day I was sworn into office as governor in 1993. And Ed Breen, new CEO for DuPont, had just announced 2 years ago that we're going to lose another couple of 1,500 jobs, taking us down to maybe 4,000 jobs at DuPont. We had lost our refinery. We lost our 1,000 jobs. We lost our steel mill up in Claymont. We had lost a GM plant. We lost a Chrysler plant, and we were just reeling. And I said something 2 years ago at the same dinner that when I was a kid growing up, one of my neighbors in West Virginia talked about a pile of manure is a pile of manure in his barnyard, and he would joke with my sister and me and say there's a pony underneath that pile of manure. And I said 2 years ago, we're looking for the pony. And as it turns out, I think the ponies are starting to show up, and some of them are bigger than others. But the fact that the DuPont Ag business is going to be in Delaware, the fact that the specialty products is going to be in Delaware, Ed Breen has moved, I think, very gracefully about $8 billion out of the material sciences business in Michigan, and it's going to be part of the specialty products. And we have FMC coming in to play a much bigger role in Delaware and taking over the Stein-Haskell area. We have Star Campus is an emerging success story. We are starting to put in a multimodal transit center right there at that campus to help grow that business. We're doing a similar kind of thing up in Claymont, where the old Phoenix Steel plant used to be. We still have a great place for people to come and visit. Tourism is strong. The farm industry, the ag industry, particularly with the poultry and corn and soybeans, lima beans and stuff like that, very strong. And we want to continue to help nurture that as well. But I think Delaware is an emerging success story. And it's not just darkness before the dawn, and it gets really, really dark. I think there's some real bright spots ahead, and for everybody that's working to build on those, to work on those together, it's all for the better. Delaware's a special place. I hope we don't, we'll change over time, but I hope among the things that we never change is our ability to work together, to collaborate, to work for the greater good, and to do that in the best interest of the people that we serve. It's a very special thing. We take it for granted in Delaware. They don't have this in a lot of other states. And hopefully, God willing, we'll be able to continue what we're doing for a long, long time. Again, to Richie and everybody that's part of the Chamber, all the businesses that are represented there, thanks for what you do for our state and for the people of Delaware. We're grateful for the jobs that you provide. Look forward to working with you, so we'll have a bright, bright future. God bless you. I hope to see you for dessert. Save my seat. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Good evening. I'm U.S. Senator Chris Coons. Welcome to the Delaware State Chamber of Commerce annual dinner. Thanks to the great people who helped make the Chamber such a positive force for business in our first state and a successful advocate for its many members. To State Chamber President Rich Heffron, thank you for your terrific service. And to your dedicated staff, thank you for ensuring business has a voice both in Dover and here in Washington. Thanks to your efforts, the Chamber enables all businesses to flourish in a demanding and constantly changing environment. I'd like to offer another thanks to the State Chamber for your continued partnership with my office to host the annual Taste of Delaware event in the U.S. Capitol. This event celebrates Delaware Day and highlights the best of Delaware's offerings in food and beverages. I appreciate the opportunity as well to offer my thanks to tonight's keynote speaker, former Vice President Joe Biden. Joe, thank you for your decades of service fighting for America's middle class, making our world safer and freer, and for accelerating progress in the prevention and treatment of cancer. Thanks to all who helped make the Chamber a champion of Delaware business, and I hope we have a great evening.
Good evening. I'm Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester, and I want to welcome you to the 181st Delaware State Chamber of Commerce annual dinner. Last year, I had the privilege of being sworn in as your sole Congresswoman in the U.S. House of Representatives. And what a year it's been. Together in 2017, we advanced businesses, small and large. We broke new ground on innovation centers like Comores at Star Campus and hosted a Facebook engagement workshop for over 200 small businesses at the Queen Theater. It's been a big year for all of us. And from the start, you've been a partner in keeping the Delaware economy strong. I want to thank the Chamber staff and members for all that you do in creating an environment that makes businesses thrive. I also want to recognize the achievements of the Chamber's hardworking president, Rich Heffron. Rich, you've been a driving force behind Delaware State Chamber of Commerce for over 25 years. You've helped elevate the profile of Delaware's business community and been a leading voice in economic expansion. With tonight as your last annual dinner as president, I know I'm not alone in saying that your leadership will be sorely missed and that we all wish you the very best in what lies ahead. Congratulations to Rich, the Chamber, and all of tonight's award winners. It's an honor to share this night with you. Thank you.
Thank you to the congressional delegation. All three have been friends of mine for a number of years. I could go and I could tell you more, but we don't have time. We got to keep moving here. We're pleased to welcome members of the State Senate here.
Their names will be up on the screen, but I want to recognize the leadership, the President Pro Tem of the State Senate, David McBride, the Majority Leader, Margaret Rose Henry, who is also retiring this year, and also the Majority Whip, Nicole Poore, Minority Leader Greg Lavelle, Majority Whip Greg Lavelle, Minority Leader Gary Simpson. And from the House of Representatives, we have Speaker Pete Schwarzkopf, Majority Leader Valerie Longhurst. That doesn't surprise me. You over there, Val? That your Majority Whip John Viola, Minority Leader Danny Short, who came all the way up from Seaford, and Minority Whip Debbie Hudson. Thank you. We're also pleased to welcome representatives of all three county governments, Newcastle County, led by County Executive Matt Meyer, Kent County Administrator Michael Petit Demange, and from Sussex County Council, Robert Arlett. Thank you. Representing the City of Wilmington, we have Mayor Mike Brzezicki. And I told the mayor this earlier. Your streets departments have done a great job this year. I know it's a difficult year. Thank you, Mike. And Treasurer Velda Jones Potter. And also Hanif Shabazz, President of the Wilmington City Council, and council members. And I was wondering why the names aren't going up there. That's because I screwed up. We forgot to put up there the staff for the federal delegation and the governor and his cabinet who are here tonight, and the governor's staff. You could do that now. That's my fault. So I tell the staff all the time, something's going to go wrong at the dinner. Don't worry about it. We're the only ones who will know about it. Well, guess what? It's not always true. But to all of you, thank you for taking your time to be here tonight, especially with the weather conditions. You know, I say this all the time, and it's true. Change is constant, and you can't be afraid of change. You have to embrace change. We have a governor who understands that. His first year, he had to make a lot of difficult decisions, and it didn't start out as he expected with some problems in the correction system. But our governor worked with the business community on two huge issues. And one for him, they would never have been passed by the legislature with his hard work and working with the leadership of both houses of the General Assembly. This year, for the first time in 47 years, we did what had been promised through the modernization of the Coastal Zone Act. We will now be able to encourage businesses to come back to those heavy industry sites, some which are abandoned, many which are environmentally damaged, which we will have cleaned up. Also, the business community went to him and said, we think if we could set up a public-private partnership for economic development, it will work. It is exactly what other states have done, and we know that we can be successful by doing that. The governor worked with us, we worked with the General Assembly, and we got that legislation passed. It's my great pleasure, and it's my honor to introduce my friend, please stand, the Governor of Delaware, John Carney.
Thank you, Rich. and good evening to all of you. What an inspirational way to start this dinner. How about a round of applause for Reverend Lehman and the men of the Sunday Breakfast Mission with that incredible rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. Well, I'll tell you what, that's something in a recognition of Rich and all his service. This is going to be a special night. Later, our keynote speaker is our Vice President, the Delawarean who's the highest elected Delawarean ever in our state's history, who's done so much for our state. I look forward to what he has to say. I remember when the Vice President first ran for Newcastle County Council. I was on my way into St. Mark's High School as a freshman in 1970. And my best friend, a guy by the name of Dave Vones, was a member of the swim club where our vice president was the manager of the club. And my friend had so many great things to say about this guy, this young guy who was running for county council. Of course, the rest is history. We know 2 years later he ran for United States Senate, pulled off an incredible upset and served our state so amazingly for 36 years in the Senate, and as I served our country and our state for the last 8 years as vice president. And I'll tell you, I don't know a lot about history and the history of the vice presidency, but I don't think there's been a better vice president than our own Joe Biden over the last 8 years. And the vice president is known for a number of things. His work in the Senate over all those years, but I think he's known best for his advocacy for the middle class. I've heard him speak on the topic many times. He seems to understand at a very gut level that a strong middle class is so important for our economy and so important for our country. I've thought about that over the years, particularly when I was a member of Congress coming up and down on the train, and it seems to me that that middle class is the one thing that keeps a very diverse country like ours together. That single thought that if you work hard, you play by the rules, you get a good education, you can get a good job, save some money, send your kids to college, and save your money for retirement. And we all know, as Senator Carper, Senator Coons, Congresswoman Blunt Rochester, and everybody else has said, that it starts with a good job. And so that's why the work that we do together is so important. It seems to me that it was a lot easier back there in 1972 when the vice president was first elected to the Senate. We had a strong manufacturing sector here in our state with thousands of jobs at General Motors and Chrysler and on the industrial complex along the Delaware River up into Claymont, where I grew up. The challenge for us today is even as as a state, the number of jobs in Delaware has increased by nearly 80%. The number of manufacturing jobs has been cut in half. So we have to work harder to create an environment where businesses can be successful, to create those middle-class jobs that are so important. We need the manufacturing jobs and the blue-collar jobs, and we need jobs based in science and technology and in the entrepreneurial economy. And the competition for those jobs is more intense than it's ever been. Not just among states, but with countries around the world. And so we have to be playing at the top of our game to compete to win every single day. And that's why the Delaware State Chamber is as important for our success as a state, I think, than it's ever been. As Rich mentioned, working with the Chamber and the Business Roundtable, we decided to do things differently. We created the Delaware Prosperity Partnership to replace the Delaware Economic Development Office. Thanks to Rich and all the people in this room, the number of legislators who made that happen. Already, we've raised $1 million from the business community to augment the $2 million of state dollars to get that partnership underway. And already the leadership of Rod Ward, who's my co-chair, and the members representing all the important sectors of the economy in our state have been doing a really good job. We also work with the Chamber and legislators of both parties to update the Coastal Zone Act. This was a win-win situation to allow the redevelopment, as Rich said, of underutilized, abandoned, polluted sites in an opportunity to create good blue-collar jobs for the middle class. We're also working to create a public-private partnership to expand the Port of Wilmington, again, to drive the development of those important middle-class jobs. At the same time, we need to cultivate our innovation and science-based sector, and that's why we've partnered with the University of Delaware and Dow DuPont to open the innovation space out at the experimental station to see jobs and development, new ideas, new companies to emerge from that research facility. And that's why we're supporting with federal grants and state money, as Congresswoman Blunt-Rochester mentioned, the research facilities at the Star campus and at Delaware State University. To be competitive, we also need to support the entrepreneurial economy. And that's why the state supports the mill at the Nemours building, and that's why the Horn Program of Entrepreneurship at the University of Delaware is so important. But the states that are going to win in this new economy are the states that are going to have the best trained workforce. No question about it. And that's why our efforts, working with the Chamber, working with many businesses in this room, to develop the pathways and programs started by former Governor Markell is so important. And thank you all for your participation in that. And that's why the work we're doing, and Secretary Bunting is here, to improve every school across our state, with particular focus to the schools in the city of Wilmington, is so important. It's very clear to me, as it is, I'm sure, to most of you in this room, that Delaware can't be successful unless the city of Wilmington is successful. And it's been a real privilege, a pleasure for me and my staff and cabinet to work with Mayor Perzicki and his team, Council President Hanifa Shabazz, to make Wilmington a city of safe and strong neighborhoods and a thriving business community. The State Chamber of Commerce has been a real partner in each of these efforts. Tomorrow, this is the beginning of a new year, we start a new legislative session. J.J. Johnson, I can't wait to see all my friends in the legislature tomorrow. On a personal note, I'd like to thank my good friend of 35 years, Rich Heffron, for the work that he's done for this chamber and for our state. Rich Heffron, you could tell by all the comments that were made, is one of the good guys. He wasn't born here, but he soon figured out that Delaware was better than Delaware County, Pennsylvania. And that you can still be a Phillies fan, an Eagles fan, a Sixers fan, and a Flyers fan if you live on this side of the border. I've sought, as many of you, I've sought Rick's advice over the years many times. Rich, I'm not sure why I didn't take that advice. He's been a good friend. We're Big Five basketball fans together. He isn't a very good golf player, but he's one of the best. Rich, thanks for your service. God bless all of you, and enjoy your dinner.
Thank you, Governor. I say it all the time. Change is necessary, change is not easy, change is hard, and this governor understands it. Thank you, John. The Marvel Cup was awarded in 1951 to honor a Delawarean or Delawareans who have made outstanding contributions to the state, community, and society. State Chamber's highest honor is named in memory of the Honorable Josiah Marvel, who recognized and was the first president of the State Chamber in 1913. The award was originally presented to Marvel upon his retirement and has been imprinted with the name of each recipient. The identity of the winner is not announced until the award is presented at this dinner. And we'll have a video with people speaking about this year's honoree. We talk about people's soul, and you can't see anybody's soul. But you know what it is when you see it. And these people, it's what they do for Delaware, what they've done for Delaware, it's in their soul. It's personal to them, it's personal to us. And that's why we're honoring them.
I've known this year's honorees for a long period of time, that's for sure. From college days, as far as one of the honorees goes, and certainly as a couple for a long period of time. But they are very special people, certainly to me, and just about everybody in Delaware.
The honoree is an incredible couple, you know, just an incredible example for all of us of class and decency and kindness. And he was an extraordinary exemplar of balancing just incredible public service with that commitment to family. And so they showed all of us that family comes first, and it certainly did for them. And she was just class personified, smart, and generous, and appreciative of really every kindness that others bestowed on the family. And took every opportunity to serve in a very meaningful way herself.
If you look at the cup says, and the honoree should be someone who has done something worthy of remembrance. And these two honorees certainly meet those qualifications, probably as well as any of our honorees have in the last several years.
They are the first family of Delaware. They have been for years, and that only became bigger from 2009 to 2017. And there's no other family like them, and what they've done for our state and for our country is truly extraordinary.
You know, when I think of our honorees, I think of family, faith, and country. These are real, genuine people.
They are good, decent, ordinary people who do extraordinary things.
They're better known than the state of Delaware. When I travel around the country, places like Florida, people say, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Delaware." And they say, "Isn't that where Joe Biden's from?" And I say, "Yes." And they say, "I couldn't find Delaware on the map, but I know Joe Biden very well, and I could pick him out of the whole lineup."
Oh my God, they're terrific people, terrific family. And it's funny because people look to Joe an awful lot and how he handles the glare of the spotlight. I think how spouses handle it is as revealing about their strength as anything else. I think Jill's just shown in that job. She's done a beautiful job.
I really feel privileged to be called extended family to them, and they've accepted Joan and I with open arms. And we actually, my Catholic education background is very similar to Joe's, so the culture part of that just fell into the line, that it was all pretty much what we were both accustomed to.
There's a quote in the Vice President's book, and it's a quote about how to achieve happiness. Find something to do, someone to love, and something to hope for.
I would say that they're kind, honest, certainly, welcoming in every sense of the word, and probably some of the finest people I've ever met.
They brought into the consciousness first of this state, and I believe throughout the nation, our responsibilities, each of us, to stand up and speak out for people that don't have a voice.
Well, they probably deserve the award as much as anybody who's ever received it, simply because of the recognition that they have brought to Delaware. I cannot imagine any couple who could deserve it more than Joe and Jill Biden.
Both Joe and Jill are totally committed to, after family, the next most important thing to them is family service. I've never heard either one of them express an interest in anything other except spending their life on public service. They're two of the most dedicated people to public service I've ever met.
He's a natural leader. And you don't have to always be out front to be a leader. You can be the wind at somebody's back. You can be the silent hand, that they hold when you walk next to them. But he was a leader who people normally just gravitated towards, because what Joe was always able to do is to see the better angels.
I think the legacy's already there, but there are years to go. There's still, I think, even more that's going to happen in their lives, for Delaware particularly now, but also for the nation.
Oh, I expect huge things from them. They have laid the groundwork throughout their entire careers to continually do larger things. And I expect that even given all of their accomplishments to date, they will still do much more in the future. I look for them to be on the scene for a long, long time.
At this point in the program, we announce the winner. Winning the Marvel Cup this year is a great and renowned ice cream eater. And we thought that we would start the announcement by making sure that we toasted him in the way that is proper. And with that, I am pleased to announce this year's winners of the Marvel Cup, Joe and Jill Biden.
Before we present the cup to Joe, I just want to say other people know them by their titles, by their professional names. In Delaware, we just know them as Joe and Jill.
This was not part of the deal. And Mike, where the hell's the ice cream? Folks, I came expecting that I was going to be your keynote speaker tonight and talk a little bit about many things that were referenced by the congressional delegations, and others have spoken tonight. But let me just say at this moment and sit down that it's been the greatest privilege of my life to have the honor, it's a genuine honor, to have served the state of Delaware as long as I have. You know, for people for the last, well, I hate to mention the number of years, all these years, to continue to invest their trust in you is an enormous gift. Bobby, a lot of you also have experienced it. You all know it. But it's an enormous gift. And I have, as I was going to say in my speech tonight, but I'll say it now and sit down, that James Joyce, I'm always quoting Irish poets, as you all know, unfortunately. And as my colleagues used to kid me in the Senate and the White House, they think I do it because I'm Irish. It's not the reason I do it, because they're the best poets. But James Joyce said, before he passed away, he said, "When I die, Dublin will be written on my heart." Well, for me and my family, my beau, Jill, when I die, Delaware will be written on my heart. It's the most remarkable, it's the most remarkable state to be able to represent. You know, when people know you and they still vote for you, that's a hell of a compliment. So thank you for the award, and I'll talk to you later.
We'll now break for dinner, and we'll hear more from the 47th Vice President of the United States and our Marvel Cup winner after we're finished dinner. Thank you.